Good afternoon, I'm Alan Unell, and this series of videos is Healthcare Advocacy, where we address problems in the healthcare system, try and take actions, and make a better system for all of us. Today we have two topics. One is an update on drug negotiations, and the other is on choosing wisely. So before I go too far, down below there's going to be a link in the description box to the Healthcare Advocacy newsletter, which is the text for today's speech, and all of the links to stories and analysis and studies and actions that I mention are always in that newsletter link. It is a free newsletter subscription. You can just go there, and I think there's a button that says subscribe, and you get that for free because that's my free retirement job. And let's get started. Negotiating drug prices. We talked a little bit about that last week, that universal health care would make the government a powerful negotiator if we had universal health care in the United States. But we don't yet, but we should. However, in Europe, the European countries, each of them do have universal health care. And on top of that, the European Union has its own set of rules regarding pharmacies and pharmacy distribution. So it turns out that European antitrust regulators have come out with a report, and they want all of us to know that fighting crime in the pharmaceutical industry pays dividends. Between 2018 and 2022, the European Commission and antitrust regulators in numerous European countries adopted 26 decisions concerning anti-competitive practices by drug companies, and they imposed more than $845 million in fines, or accepting legally binding commitments from the manufacturers to alter their corporate behavior. All totaled, there were 70 investigations. 30 of them are still ongoing, according to a new report, and there's a link to that report in the newsletter. So pretty much all the European Union countries, they have some kind of universal health care, all different, by the way. They all have different flavors because culturally, each country's culture is unique, and what makes sense for healthcare is very culturally dependent. Anyway, they all negotiate lower drug prices, and our elected officials here, they just kind of let us get taken to the cleaners. So, word to the wise. Let's talk, and speaking of wise, let's talk about choosing wisely. I'm going to go off the script here for just a moment and mention I received a note from a reader a while ago who wanted to know about patients in hospitals or nursing homes where a lot of tests or procedures are done that may be of low value or may be harmful, that seem to be done just to increase billing. And so I'm actually investigating that to see how widespread it is. But along the way, I ran into an organization called Choosing Wisely, and it kept showing up over and over and over again. So let me tell you what I learned. It was an investigation that was started in 2013 by the American Board of Internal Medicine Foundation, and they were actually supported by doctors groups and I think insurance companies, just all kinds of organizations. And they wanted to know, are too many tests being done, charging too much money that have no value? We should just stop wasting money for things that are useless. That was the goal. They wanted to promote conversations between clinicians and patients and help patients choose care that's supported by evidence, not duplicative of other tests or procedures that they may have already received, and make sure that the tests and procedures are pretty much free from harm and really are necessary. Amazingly enough, in this last 10 years, they have identified between 600 and 700 tests and procedures that are of low value. So when I say something is of low value, for a certain population or for a certain age group, or it makes no sense. So, of course, part of their mission is to have doctors and patients talk about what's actually necessary for an accurate diagnosis. That conversation is really important. They also ask leading medical specialty societies and other organizations to help them identify tests or procedures that are commonly used in their field where necessity could be questioned and ought to be discussed with patients. Well, I ran into this a couple of weeks ago with a urologist. he explained that certain tests were just not useful for someone my age. And I got to tell you, it made me very nervous. I took him at his word for it while I was in the office, and then I immediately went home and looked it up because I'm not all that trusting. Anyway, I examined Choosing Wisely, and what I discovered was something he should have told me, was that the tests I was interested in having done provided a benefit over a 10-year period to 1 out of 1,000 people. That was it. And actually wind up doing harm to a large number of people when you do too many of these tests over that 1,000 people. So I could see why he was hesitant. There was low value, you weren't going to learn a lot, and you had the possibility of doing damage. So Choosing Wisely came up with a group of questions that they recommend patients and doctors discuss. Here it is. I'll just read it to you. I'll actually include it down below so you can have it. Do I really need this test or procedure? Medical tests help you and your doctor or other health provider decide how to treat a problem, and medical procedures help to treat it. What are the risks? Will there be side effects? What are the chances of getting results that aren't accurate? Could that lead to more testing or another procedure? Are there simpler or safer options? Sometimes all you need to do is make lifestyle changes, like eating healthier food or exercising more. What happens if I don't do anything? Could the condition get worse? Could it get better all on its own? If I don't have the test right away. Here's the last one. What does it cost? Ask if there are less expensive tests. Are there treatments or procedures available that are less expensive? Is my insurance going to pay for it? Anyway, I included a link to the Choosing Wisely recommendation list that was put out by the American Academy of Family Physicians on their website. It'll be in the newsletter. I also include a link to the Choosing Wisely website, and you can just kind of take a look and see everything they're doing there. The truth of it is, doctors don't know everything. We need to be better consumers. So let's be better consumers. That's what I've got for you today. The action is to go read and be a good consumer. We'll talk more tomorrow. Oh, like, share, and subscribe down below. Thanks.